Hello, hello, hello. Today is going to be a very important day as we're going to discuss a little bit of secret. I like to call it a secret because not every childcare provider or assistant living provider knows this. And what I'm talking about is the number one reason why you owe in taxes every single year. We know that the tax season, the 2023 tax season just passed. So if you owe taxes for 2023, you're probably going to fall into this category. Or if you owe taxes from previous tax years, you'll probably fall into that particular category. But either or, it all boils down to the same reason as to why you owe taxes every single year. Previous years, current year, it's the same reason. And that reason is going to be because as childcare providers, as well as assistant living providers, you guys have a hard time understanding the difference between tax return filing and tax planning. Okay, there's a tremendous difference between both. Let's dive into what tax return filing is. Tax return filing is when you contact your tax advisor and your tax advisor informs you to submit all current year tax documents, such as any type of W-2s, any type of 1099s that you received, any type of mortgage interest statements, all those good tax documents that you'll receive in the mail towards the end of the year or at the beginning of the year. They also tell you to submit your bookkeeping records and all those things. Now, the thing is that when you submit all these documents to your tax advisor, they're going to ask you a few questions in regards to demographics, right? They're going to ask you if you may have moved throughout the year, meaning, do you have a different physical residential address? Did you have any dependents that were added on throughout the year? How many dependents do you have? They may ask you about your current marriage status. Are you married? Are you not married? Is it just you in the household? All of these are demographics questions. And the reason why they're asking you these questions is to make sure that they have the correct filing status for you, meaning that you may need to file married, filing jointly, head of household, single, depending on your demographics, right? That's what the tax advisor is going to do when it comes time for tax return filing. They're going to figure out your demographics, make any updates as needed, and the documents that you have presented to them, they are going to put that in a tax software to start maneuvering through the tax return process. And at the end of the tax return process, they're going to spit out a result to you. They're going to let you know if you owe for federal taxes or not, and they're going to let you owe if you owe for state taxes or not. And depending on what state you're in, you may have city taxes that are accumulated as well that you may owe or may not owe. That's pretty much the tax return filing status in a nutshell. So now let's talk about the tax planning status. Okay, what is tax planning? Tax planning is when you meet with your tax advisor, financial professional throughout the year. You're meeting with them throughout the year. You guys are coming up with good ideas in regards to how the business is moving, the growth of the business, expectations of the business from a financial standpoint or acquisition standpoint. The tax advisor is really doing deep down conversations with you, the client, to kind of figure out where the business is moving, what chess movements can we make to make sure that you don't pay your fair share in taxes when it comes to that tax filing period. And this is conducted all throughout the year, every single month. And with effective tax planning, this is how you, as the childcare provider or assistant living provider, can ensure that you do not pay more than your fair share in taxes. So really and truly, one goes without saying, hey, this is heavy planning that has to be done. We actually have to think about the future of the business, where it is currently, the future of the business. And honestly, you have to think about where the business was in the past. So you really have to focus on past, present, and future whenever you're doing the tax planning for the client. This is all accumulated in that tax planning process. Again, at the end of the tax planning process, which is done month by month throughout the year before it's time to file your tax returns, you should have a good concept of where your business was in the past, where it is currently, and where you want it to be in the future. And those tax plans that you've put into place, in regards to knowing that, you are able to ensure tax savings of whatever amount. Really and truly, whenever you have good, effective tax planning, you pretty much can already kind of pinpoint if you'll owe or if you'll not owe for the upcoming tax season. Really and truly, you don't even have to wait to file your taxes. If you've had really good, thorough, effective tax planning, you'll pretty much know on December 31st if you're going to owe or if you're not going to owe and how much you're going to owe. That's how you know if you have really, really good tax planning. And hopefully that clears up the tax filing process versus the tax planning process, because what I tend to see a lot is that childcare providers and assisted living providers are confused as to why they owe these huge tax liabilities when they file their taxes, and they don't think about it's because that there was no tax planning into effect. You didn't tax plan for the year. All you pretty much did was make sure that your bookkeeping records were up to date, which some of you guys have not made sure that your bookkeeping is up to date, but that's a different story for a different day. But at any rate, making sure that you've turned in all your requested documents to your tax advisor, so on and so forth. And again, that tax advisor is just going to put that information into the system and bam, you have a result. And depending on that result, you as the client, you are going to wonder pretty much after the fact that, hey, why do I owe so much? And really and truly, by that time, it's late. The result is there. That's what it is. That's what you're going to have to pay to the IRS. Instead of you being proactive, you're reactive. Okay, we want you to be proactive, but when you're doing it this way, you don't have a tax plan in place and things like that, you're reacting to the result. Okay, because the result is the result. It can't be changed. And of course, this is things that have happened in the past within that past tax year. So you can't go back into the tax year to make any changes because it's already gone. So that's the number one reason why you overpay in taxes, is because you're not proactive as an assisted living provider or child care provider. You're reactive. And so what we want you to do is get ahead of the game, get ahead. The only way you can get ahead of the game is tax planning throughout that particular year to ensure that you don't continue to run into that result of having a huge tax liability towards the end of the year. So I really hope that this helps. I really hope that you gain at least some type of clarity in regards to the tax return filing process versus the tax planning process, and why you really, really, really do need both. Because at the end of the day, anybody who's living, breathing, whether you're a business owner or not, and you're over a certain age, you have to file a tax return. That's inevitable. You're going to have to file a tax return, but you want to be proactive in regards to, okay, I know I have to file this tax return, but I know that I want to protect myself and my business against paying more than my fair share in taxes. And that's where tax planning comes into play. Again, it goes back to those two situations that I spoke about previously. If you find yourself owing for the current tax year, or you found yourself owing for past tax years, more than likely it's because you did not have any effective, thorough tax planning throughout the year. Okay, so that's what it results in when you do not have any effective tax planning. If this is you, there will be a link below this video. Go ahead and click the link and get a free 15-minute consultation to get your tax situation assessed. Okay, myself and my team members, we are here to assist you. We are here to help you with any questions that you may have. Again, I hope this information was informative, and I will talk to you guys soon.